and welcome back to the Creature Club podcast. This week we will be continuing with the Treasure Trove episode from last week, and we will continue to delve deeper into the D section of the items of the Dungeon Master's Guide. My co-host and I, Daniel, recorded a couple of weeks ago, and we just had a very, very long episode. We recorded for over 2 hours, so this will be the continuation of that. If you haven't listened already, the first part is available everywhere else that this one is currently available. And yes, without further ado, let us get right back into it. Next one is the Deck of Many Things, which we have covered extensively in a previous episode. So we will run ahead to the Defender. The Defender is a weapon of any sword, a legendary, and it was requiring attunement. Don't know why I said all that like that, but I did. You gain a +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this magic weapon. The first time you attack with the sword on each of your turns, you can transfer some or all of the sword's bonus to your armor class, instead of using the bonus on any attacks for that turn. For example, you can reduce the bonus to your attack and damage rolls to +1 to gain a +2 bonus to AC. The adjusted bonuses remain in effect until the start of your next turn, although you must hold the sword to gain a bonus to AC from it. It's very cool. I like it. It is very
cool. I like it a lot too.
It's very dynamic. Like we're a fan of the dynamic items here, and this is definitely one of them. Like it's assault and defense. It should be called assaulter and defender, offender and defender, because it is one of the most, like, a +3 weapon is huge to a player. It is like legendary for a reason, because things like that do not come by every day. It is enormously powerful.
Yeah, so the Defender is really cool. I don't know if you remember, Tim, but I already added a Defender-like weapon in my game.
You?
Yes. The reason... That's fine. The reason you don't remember is because it was used by Hugh's character, Siphon the Squire, who didn't get as much chance to use it, unfortunately.
He just kept moving all of that furniture.
He was busy.
Eternally.
So he had a weapon which was the... I can't remember the name of it. It was the sword of one of Cass's knights. If you remember correctly, there was the two... I can't remember anyone's name. Sorry.
Yeah, me neither.
But anyway, sorry. Basically, the sword was a miniaturized version of the Defender. It was a short sword, and it was a +2 weapon instead of a +1 and +3. But it had the same idea behind the enchantment, where you could move the the bonus to the weapon to your AC instead to make yourself harder to hit. But it was part of a set. So the idea behind it was that there was like these two knights were like the subordinates of this one other knight, and both of them had like a different style. So one of them had like two knives, I think, and they had some rule when you wielded both of them, some kind of bonus. I can't remember any of that, but I remember with the Defender, it was that there was the short sword, which was the Defender, and then the other enchanted weapon of that knight was a shield. And when you wielded them together, you could transfer all of the bonuses freely. So you could actually pull the AC bonus from the shield into the weapon to make it a +4 weapon.
Cool.
Or you could put all of it into your shield and then be even harder to hit.
Nice.
So that's a cool suggestion as a way to muck with the Defender. But yeah, so I think the Defender is really cool. Super solid ability. I like it because it's just all about the player making a decision about whether they want to be better at hitting or better at not dying.
Or just making your villain particularly diverse and make them move kind of differently. Like they're going to be hard to hit, or they're going to hit you hard.
Oh yeah, and the other thing was that when you had the shield, you could give the Defender's bonus AC to someone else. Because the idea was that he was a knight who defended people and defended his lord. So like his ability was that when he had the two of them together, he could transfer the Defender's bonus AC to another character.
That is a delight.
Which is another way you could change up the Defender and make it interesting. The idea that you can kind of use it as a sort of a blocking item to protect your party.
Yeah, it would be very useful in the hands of like a sentinel or somebody who's using the protection archetype. Is it protection or defender archetype?
Protection, you're correct.
Okay, yeah. So more defense all around. Yeah, cool. And that's just about all there is. It's just a really cool, extremely broadly effective
Super practical.
weapon.
You can understand why it's legendary because it's a +3 weapon with a bonus. But yeah, I really like it. I like how you can modify it. I like how you can. I appreciate that it is. I just like that it's a great example of a simple player-oriented item that's sort of like. It's kind of fun in like a hubris way. Like you can imagine them being like, no, I just need the bonus to hit. And then like, when it's a bad guy's turn, they just like punch the player in half. Or they're like, no, I'll use it to defend myself. And then without the bonus, they just miss. And it's like, damn it.
Yeah.
I think that's just funny. So, shall we move on?
Let us.
Demon armor. That's right. It's bad armor.
No.
Well, it's not that bad. It's fine. Demon armor plate. It's specifically plate, which is interesting. Very rare, requires attunement. While wearing this armor, mow it.
While wearing this armor.
Oh god. While wearing this armor, you gain a +1 bonus to AC, and you can understand and speak Abyssal. In addition, the armor's claws gauntlets.
Claude.
That's Claws Gauntlets is my favorite character from the Santa expanded universe. The armor's clawed gauntlets turn unarmed strikes with your hands into magic weapons that deal slashing damage with a +1 to attack and damage rolls and a damage die of D8. Wow, that's sort of
What?
So your unarmed
damage.
strikes become D8 +1 D8 weapons basically.
Okay.
But it's just
But also
sort of
+1 damage. So +1 damage and +1 D8.
So in addition, your armor's clawed gauntlets turn unarmed strikes with your hands, which is obviously because you can make unarmed strikes with any part of your body, into magic weapons that deal slashing damage with a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls and a damage die of D8. So it's just very weirdly written, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody would get the gist of what was happening there, but it's just strangely worded.
It's just like your unarmed strikes with your hands become D8s and get a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls.
Yep.
The fact that the D8 is at the end and it says the word damage die, which it never uses ever in this fucking book, is sort of the reason it's unusual.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's cursed. Surprise. Curse. Once you don this cursed armor, you can't doff it unless you are targeted by the remove curse spell or similar magic. While wearing the armor, you have disadvantage on attack rolls against demons and on saving throws against their spells or special abilities. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's actually fine. As far as curses go, that's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty cool.
It also looks cool, yeah.
Yeah, it could be a bit scary, so if you walk into a small village, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, he's come to kill us.
Oh, piss, a demon.
Oh, it's a demon man. He took that armor belonged to the man who terrorized us for years.
Oh no, beat him up.
Get him.
Yeah, that's interesting because it's a really good item and the curse is not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you are not fighting demons.
Yeah, well, one of the very few uses of your being able to speak Abyssal is when you are interacting with demons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is basically just +1 AC to plate armor, which I think makes it 19?
Yes.
19 AC, yeah.
And with your
and
shield, that's
get
21.
And you have your punchy abilities if you ever lose your sword.
You have a good punch. Although if you don't have a magic sword, your punches might even be better than a sword. So.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
So you might just end up punching people to death.
Yeah. Unarmed strike. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way that it would stack with having more actual dice than just the D8, but unarmed strikes are usually reserved for people who don't tend to wear armor. So.
Oh, I guess the curse is also that you can't take the armor off.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Like, which is bad, I guess. It's not comfortable. Yeah, actually, that's true. You can't sleep properly in it or something. I don't know what the rules are in 5th edition, but there are rules for not sleeping in heavy armor. You don't get the full benefits of a long rest or something like that. So yeah, I guess it does make it harder long term.
Yeah.
Because you can't take off the armor, but the actual the second part of the curse, while wearing the armor, you have disadvantage on attack rolls against demons and on saving throws again. So you can take off the armor once you've been removed cursed, but the the disadvantage on attack rolls against demons and on saving throws against their spells and abilities still applies when you put the armor back on.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that
so just have somebody with remove curse. Although, does it remove the curse from the armor? So then,
well, that's the thing.
Because
I think it doesn't. I think in 5th edition specifically, you can't remove the curse from cursed items with remove curse. Remove curse removes it from the person who's been afflicted.
Oh,
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I could be wrong,
cool.
but I'm pretty sure that like basically cursed items are like permanently cursed, effectively.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Unless you use like dispel magic, I suppose, or like you can always work around making it work. So if somebody really, really wants this demon armor but really doesn't want to deal with the curse, you know, you could probably work with people and say, yeah, you can find an enchanter who'll do it for like a huge amount of gold and it'll take an entire week, but like give them a small penalty, but you know, let them have this cool armor if they want it.
Yeah, so remove curse. At your touch, all curses affecting one creature or object end. If the object is a cursed magic item, its curse remains, but the spell breaks its owner's attunement to the object, so it can be removed or discarded.
I see.
So
only on attunement do you get all the advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah, basically.
Cool. That's fine.
What was I going to say? The other thing is, the kind of cool thing you can do that I like the idea of is that with cursed items that you can go on like, you can do something to purify them, you know? Mm-hmm. So in this case, it's a demon, which is chaotic evil. So you need to go the other way, which is lawful good. So you have to make a deal with angels or something.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, a Kirin or something like that, or a unicorn.
Oh yeah.
They could sort you out.
Probably. Just a really like divine or celestial being.
Just like a powerful source of lawful good, and like I think I'd probably say like that'd be a good way to do it. So like if it's a cursed devil item, they're like lawful evil. So now you need like someone who's chaotic good. So you need to find like a nature spirit or like a fae or something like that.
Yeah.
So and like that's cool because that's a quest on its own, purifying a magic item so you can use it.
Totally.
And then when they purify it, you can be like, it does what it did before, but maybe different.
Slightly different.
You know, maybe instead of speaking and understanding abyssal, you can speak and understand Sylvan or celestial, or maybe you can still speak and understand abyssal, but also celestial.
Ooh.
So it keeps its old bad abilities, but it gets new nice abilities. That's kind of a nice reward for completing the quest and doing all the things.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. I like it. I'll take 3.
Okay. That'll be $17.
I only have 16 and a half.
Yeah, you can have it anyway.
Whee!
Okay, so do you want to hit us with that next one, Tim?
Sure. The next one is Dimensional Shackles, which is a wondrous item that is rare. You can use an action to place these shackles on an incapacitated creature. The shackles adjust to fit a creature of small to large size. In addition to serving as mundane manacles, the shackles prevent a creature bound by them from using any method of extra-dimensional movement, including teleportation or travel to a different plane of existence. They don't prevent the creature from passing through an interdimensional portal. You and any creature you designate when you use the shackles can use an action to remove them. Once every 30 days, the bound creature can make a DC 30 Strength Athletics check. On a success, the creature breaks free and destroys the shackles. I need a hand here, Neo.
Neo, my time is running out. These items are fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think what's weird about them is like they're rare, but they only really do like one thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, for what you would use them on, it's extremely useful, but it is very much just the one use.
Yeah, they're really niche. They're just a very niche item, and it's interesting that like. No, yeah, I was gonna say it's interesting that they're in the book, but that's not like that's. I think they're in the book because they're actually a pretty old part of D&D. The idea of like, stopping you from teleporting and stuff. But yeah, they're fine.
Yeah. But you can still walk them through like an interdimensional portal if you have captured them on a different plane of existence and you have an open portal.
Yeah, I mean, like if you were playing like interplanar bounty hunters, they'd be useful.
Yeah,
but like that's kind of it.
You'd probably just be given them anyway. Like you wouldn't.
Yeah, it'd be weird if you didn't have them somehow. And I don't know.
I mean, this is probably just a good guide to kind of explain to your players what exactly that the dimensional shackles do, because not being able to pass through an interdimensional portal is something that you might not think of, and they'll get to the portal and they'll be like, oh well, we have these dimensional shackles, we can't get them through the gate. But to have that specified in this definition, I think, works. And the DC strength save works if, I suppose, every 30 days you feel like just turning into a god.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, overall, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just a good definition there. It's
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's almost like it's a magic item that exists for your universe rather than like for the players.
Yeah.
Which is mixed, I think.
My thought on it would be that, like, if your enemies had this, they would use it to shackle some great deity, or like a deity to certain peoples, to their plane. So like your mission would probably start off like our great beast, this creature that comes to us has stopped coming to us suddenly because some dude came in and he was all nasty to it, and then he just like chains them into this different plane, and you have to go save this great creature that will probably give you a sweet reward at the end of it. That might be a cool way to open a game. No, it would probably be kind of mid-tier, like 5 to 10 kind of level. I'd say that would be a good quest for.
No, I think they're fine. I just think they're they almost feel like they're so specific, they're almost like a spell or something. Like they almost don't need to be an item because they don't do anything else. But anyway, I guess we'll just talk about something else.
Sure.
Like dragon scale mail. Armor, scale mail, very rare, requires attunement. Dragon scale mail is made from the scales of one kind of dragon. Sometimes dragons collect their cast-off scales and gift them to humanoids. Other times, hunters carefully skin and preserve the hide of a dead dragon. In either case, dragon scale mail is highly valued. While wearing this armor, you gain +1 bonus to AC. You have advantage on saving throws against the frightful presence and breath weapons of dragons, and you have resistance to 1 damage type that is determined by the kind of dragon that provided the scales. Additionally, you can focus your senses as an action to magically discern the distance and direction of the closest dragon within 30 miles of you that is of the same type as the armor. This special action can't be used again until dawn. The dragons and types are what you'd expect. So like black acid, blue lightning, brass fire, bronze lightning, copper acid, gold fire, green poison, red fire, silver cold, white cold. Just like the actual breath weapons that those dragons have themselves.
Yes.
And what they resist already.
That last little ability is probably the most interesting to me. The one where you can sense where the dragons are within 30 miles of you.
I love how it's just super weird.
Yeah. Like, I wonder, is that like an inherent ability that dragons just have that you gain through that? Or if it is just kind of tacked on.
Something weird about it in the armor, yeah. But yeah, no, it is cool. It's a nice it's a nice kind of like fun ability that the players will forget about most of the time, and when they actually use it and you're like, yeah, there's a dragon nearby, they're like, oh shit. That'd be cool.
Because you do have to focus your senses on it as an action. Because like otherwise you'd be like, your armor glows blue when orcs are near.
Making it very easy to sneak around orcs. I also like that it has a bunch of like generic benefits, like the +1 AC and advantage on the saving throws against fire presence and breath weapons, because those will work against all dragons, and then the fact that it also has a damage resistance means like it'll work against different types of creatures.
Totally.
So yeah, overall it's cool.
I like it. Tasty.
Yes. I was wondering, they don't have it here, but if you are the kind of practical person that you might be, I can't say. If you look up Dragon Scale Mail, I think in Pathfinder, they actually gave rules for how many suits you could make out of one dragon.
Oh.
So, like, if you kill a dragon and you're like, we're going to turn it into armor, it would say, like, here's how much armor you can make out of the dragon based on its size and what kind of armor you want to make.
Yeah. I haven't played any Pathfinder, so...
No. Like
Well, that's cool.
I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's something like you know, an adult dragon gives you like 4 suits of scale mail or something like that.
Cool.
And then like, but it also has a rule for like you can make things out of dragon scales or dragon leather, and then dragon leather has like some other benefits.
I mean, it's probably just light armor or medium armor.
Yeah, the idea is like, yeah, whereas yeah, exactly what kind of armor you're making, but also like they have different abilities. So like leather has like less resistance and stuff like that.
Ah.
But it's more flexible.
Oh.
And
Flexible.
sexy.
Sexable.
But yeah, dragon scale mail, it's cool. I don't know what else to say about it, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very cool. I mean, it's a good identifier for NPCs if they are wearing cool dragon scale armor, that they are either a dragon slayer or they've inherited some sweet armor, or like it's a little bit of world building. Like you can explain to them that they see a person wearing this armor with pretty large colored scales. And if you describe it as like a bunch of different colors, you could be like, ooh, they've slain many dragons.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. Like, part of me thinks like, I always think of like the idea of like you walking up to a dragon for like to like parlay, and you're wearing like dragon scale mail, and they're like, excuse me. It's just like,
you want to take
so
that
weird.
off real quick?
It's such a weird concept. The idea that you're like, I'm just gonna wear something like your cousin's skin while I talk to you or whatever.
Wear the skin of one of your kin. Is that cool?
Is that
You
that
don't
not
mind,
good?
do you?
But yeah, that's weird. I guess the idea is that dragons probably don't really care because like they kill each other all the time and stuff.
Yeah. Well, they are sentient, so they're conscious.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is
like
just a really
but,
weird
like,
thing.
They probably you know I would imagine that when a dragon kills another dragon, they take their stuff and probably part of them as a reminder.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if
That
you went
makes
into a
sense.
dragon's hoard and you found another dragon skull, you wouldn't be like, eee.
Oh, gross, cannibal.
Like
You
you'd be like,
sicken me, dragon. I don't want any of your dirty gold.
I don't want your blood gold. Oh, my money's blood gold. What am I talking about?
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, yeah. So, but like, I don't know. It's just one of those funny D&D things. But yeah, Dragon Scale Mail is very cool. I think it would be interesting to see like, I think it would be a cool thing if you could like modify your armor, like, so as you slay different types of dragons, you can like incorporate all the different scales into the armor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so
like
it
the
provides
hardy back ones that would probably be kind of harder, and then the kind of softer belly ones.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and even the idea of like, what I'm imagining is the idea that you don't necessarily have multiple damage resistances at once. Maybe you have like 2 or something, but you can like swap. So like you have like 2 colors showing at a given time.
Cool. You're
like-
gonna have to hunt a lot of dragons.
But like you might, it's just if you end up killing a lot of dragons.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
just be like, great, I'll add that to the armor, and now it's
Yeah.
like I can swap between green and red and blue, and be like do, and then you've got different damage
Yeah.
resistances and stuff.
by no means unusual that a party would have slain more than one dragon in a game of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of slaying dragons, the next item is Dragon Slayer, which is a weapon, any sword, and is of the rare variety.
A lot of these weapons, in fact, I think every weapon we've encountered so far
Yep, any
has
sword.
said any sword, with the exception of the Dagger of Venom, which is exclusively a dagger.
Dagger. Yeah.
Yeah,
Funny that.
I think
Any
it's
sword.
worth remembering. Hey, fuck that.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
just have it be a weapon.
yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
Yeah. So anyway, you gain a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this magic weapon. When you hit a dragon with this weapon, the dragon takes an extra 3d6 damage of the weapon's type. For the purpose of this weapon, dragon refers to any creature with the dragon type, including dragon turtles and wyverns.
Yeah.
Yep.
And presumably maybe kobolds as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Are they dragonoids or something? Like that?
They're scaly kin by some
Oh.
according, because the idea like they live with dragons and work for them and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they're particularly draconic. I think they're more like they're like shitty lizard people.
They're much more like dragons than they used to be. They used to be dog people.
Yeah. Well, what about dragonborn? If you fight a dragonborn person.
Yeah, they're dragons.
Okay. Yeah.
They certainly count as creatures of the dragon type.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I mean, if dragon turtles do, then dragonborn do.
Yeah, almost certainly. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's a very broadly effective weapon, like not just for fighting dragons. Yeah.
I mean, it's for fighting dragons of all shapes and sizes, but it is
Yeah.
kind of still mostly dragons.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's cool.
Yep.
I think it's a great example of what you had before. You had like a lot of weapons with what was called the Bane category, which was like they're really good at killing certain things. You could have like an Angel Bane weapon, which would be really good at killing angels or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like they've taken out the idea of Banes, or maybe they haven't, and I've forgotten because
No,
I'm a
we did a couple of them earlier because there was the Bane of Dragons, I think, even specifically.
There was
early
the
on.
Arrows of Dragon Slaying, but there
Yes.
wasn't a Bane.
There wasn't a specific Bane.
There's
Okay.
no specific like Bane idea. It's more like specific, so like you get like Dragon Slayer and stuff. But yeah, I think it's fair to say you could just get this and be like X Slayer and replace Dragon with anything else, like Demon Slayer. God Slayer would be a cool one for like divine creatures, stuff like that.
And if your players find something that they're like, would this sword be effective on this? If they can reason it, give it to them, you know? Like, don't be shy with letting your folks deal damage.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Very cool. Nice sword.
Yeah,
Might go
that's cool.
in tandem with the armor because, you know, if you're killing dragons, you probably
Yeah,
have
true.
a pretty good dragon killy sword.
Yeah, it probably makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I think I have in terms of dragon slaying specifically, I think an axe would also be a good weapon against a dragon.
Dragon slaying axe.
Yeah, just 'cause they're
Yeah.
big.
A great axe or something, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Very satisfying. Big old swinging axe.
Yeah.
Hee-haw.
Kyo.
Or the old halberds and like
Oh, true. Yeah,
like
actually, yeah.
big pointy sticks, you know?
A
pikes and
pointed
stuff.
stick.
Point-head stick. What if they come at you with a banana? Dragon slaying banana.
A dragon slaying banana. If you eat it, you slay a dragon.
Wow. Every one of these that you eat, a dragon dies.
Stop eating them.
Stop eating
No.
bananas.
Okay,
Cool,
so,
yeah. Dragon slaying sword.
okay, next item is the Drift Globe. I like this guy.
That's cool.
Wondrous item, uncommon. This small sphere of thick glass weighs 1 pound. If you are within 60 feet of it, you can speak its command word and cause it to emanate the light or daylight spell. Once used, the daylight effect can't be used again until the next dawn. You can speak another command word as an action to make the illuminated globe rise into the air and float no more than 5 feet off the ground. The globe hovers in this way until you or another creature grasps it. If you move more than 60 feet from the hovering globe, it follows you until it is within 60 feet of you. It takes the shortest route to do so. If it is prevented from moving, the globe sinks gently to the ground and becomes inactive, and its light winks out.
Yeah.
So this is like just a simple source of illumination.
Yeah. The only thing is, I think it won't move with you until you are outside of 60 feet. And if you touch it, it'll turn off.
Yeah.
So it might be a cool thing for, like, I don't know, maybe people who are trying to be relatively subtle in a cavern. So they'll have the light kind of far behind them so that whatever is focusing on that light or following that light won't see them necessarily. It'll just see this light. It's kind of like our angler friend. Our angler
true
dragon.
enough, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like a trail. That gets things to follow the light, but then suddenly they get ganked by a whole bunch of big, strong, fighty
Dummies.
boys.
And it can cast the daylight spell once per day, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
handy.
Nice and powerful. Big, strong.
Which is great for things like actually like
Vampires.
lots of things. Oh, I was even going to say
All
even
things.
kobolds have like sunlight sensitivity,
Oh, do they?
which I think works with daylight.
Anything on the underground that is not blind will tend to be very sensitive to daylight. Yeah.
Okay,
Use
so
it to
a
fight some
60-foot
drow.
A 60-foot radius sphere of light spreads out from the point you choose within range. The sphere is bright light and sheds dim light for an additional 60 feet. If you choose a point on an object you are holding or one that isn't being worn or carried, the light shines from the object with it and moves with it. Completely covering the object blocks the light. If any of this spell's area overlaps with an area of darkness created by a spell of lower level, I presume is what they mean, the spell that created the darkness is dispelled.
Cool.
So that's pretty cool.
Isn't there a caveat that you can focus the daylight? Or like there's an
no,
extra
it just
thing? No?
it just spreads
Oh,
out.
okay.
That might be
Cool.
sunlight. I think sunlight is a separate spell as well.
Possibly. Yeah. But that's cool. Nice. You can have either a little bit of light or a lot of bit of light,
Yeah, exactly.
which is handy in virtually all circumstances.
It's kind of a shame you can't like kick it into the sky and then have it cast like daylight into
Yeah.
a room so you can see everywhere, because that'd be kind of
Mhm.
cool. But no, it's cool. I like it. It's a great example of just a really small practical item you can have your players get nice and early, and it's just like you don't have to worry about light as much anymore.
It's kind of like the water dude. The,
What?
the flask of water. The water dude.
Oh yeah. The water dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
You just don't have to worry about it anymore.
And
'Cause
like the
you have
water
this
dude,
thing.
it's a great example of an item that like it doesn't do anything like now you shoot good or whatever. Like it's a little more like passive as an item, but it's still useful. It still has its practical moments, and I think it can still be like it can still surprise the party.
Yeah. And I think it would be cool to be able to control it relatively well. Like you could probably adjust it to be like make it attunement and then have the person be able to like psychically or telepathically just kind of move it to a spot,
Yeah, you
or
could change
have it
pretty
like
easily, yeah.
float them way up. Like give it to a character who can't use like dancing lights or something like that. Like if you do have a traveling party that doesn't have somebody who can cast dancing lights or a particularly effective light spell, which is unusual, but not unheard of. You could just chuck this into their party and they have a little light thing, a little night light.
What do you think happens if you break one of these things?
Hmm.
Because they are apparently just made of thick glass.
Yeah.
So they're presumably like a little bit harder to smash because they're magical, but like it is still one
Possible.
of more vulnerable seeming magic items. So what do you think happens if it gets smashed by someone?
I would probably have it. Everybody has to make a dexterity saving throw or be blinded within 30 feet.
That makes
Would
sense.
probably be a cool thing. So if you wanted to have a kind of kamikaze guy jump into a bunch of creatures that are following you, make him smash this globe and then run away. Close his eyes and smash it on the ground and then run away. Run away. Yeah, that's
Cool.
probably what I'd go for.
Yeah,
What
fair
about
enough.
you?
I was just thinking like I was wondering like what happens when you break it? Does it just like smash like a light bulb, or like depending on how you break it, like if you like went through it with a spear, for example, would like what I was wondering, I was like, do you think something could happen where like you could catch the magic? You could like hit it with an enchanted arrow, and then like the arrow becomes like contains the light magic, and the drift globe
Ooh.
itself just kind of dies or whatever.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
Sort of, it's like almost like transference into another object, but maybe you
Yeah,
have to do
yeah.
a ritual first or something like that to make it safe.
Mm.
But it
Or
requires
to,
you
to
breaking
have
the
the
drift globe.
arrow, be like magic absorbent or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Mm.
But
like
yeah,
that.
I like your idea, because then you can use your drift globe as like grenades. You can just like push them
Just
down a
hook
wall and have them smash in front of some people and then jump them.
Yeah. You'd probably have to use like a magic item to do it, because it is a magic item. Like use
I know what you
a
mean,
magic warhammer. Just otherwise it's just way too easy to break. Or maybe don't. Maybe just have it smashable.
Well, like a kind of a simple solution would be just have it have a normal amount of HP, but say it has resistance to all damage because it's magical. So it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a medium sized orb. It's made of thick glass, so it's maybe got like 7 HP or something, but it's resistant to all damage. So like,
Yeah.
or maybe like or you could even take the thing from Daeron's Fortress and say like it's immune to like accidental damage or whatever. Like yeah, or any which way. I don't know. It really
Or if
depends on
you
what
shoot
you
it
want
out of a catapult, it'll explode.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like I suppose like an easy way might be to like say, if I think I feel like there might even be a thing in one of the 5th edition books that says like, if an object is magical, like double its HP and give it resistance to all damage. So that might be a fair thing to do. Like go, okay, well, how
Yeah.
tough do I think this thing is to kill in terms of pure HP? Maybe I don't know. It's kind of a thick glass ball, so maybe it's got like 4 HP, so I'll double that to 8 and give it resistance to all damage. So like
And it
it's not-
probably doesn't chip even if you like drop it.
yeah, I'm thinking like it's immune to incidental damage basically.
Yeah.
Like you have to it has to be like someone swings at it or something like that. Like it has to be a very deliberate attempt to damage it.
Agreed.
But it can be broken, because that's, especially because like a drift globe is an example of an item where if it was just smashed by some like bad orc, the party aren't gonna be like, but my bear. They wouldn't be upset in the same way as if someone like just took their defender and snapped it over their knee, like, and they'd be like, but I that's the best sword
That's
ever.
my favorite sword.
I did a big quest for it. Whereas if you smash a drift globe, they'll be like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Or like, I forgot I had it.
But what if it was my best friend growing up, Daniel? What if my entire backstory is based around this drift globe?
Then I don't know. It's like you're playing Portal, I guess. Like that's
Cool.
like a different game. That's like a different game now. We've entered a new sphere.
The drift globe.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Next up is the Dust of Disappearance, a wondrous item that is uncommon. Found in a
I
small...
lost my Dust of Disappearance.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
Did you get
Daniel.
it?
Oh, you're so silly.
Thank you.
Jeez.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Very good. It's gentle
Thanks.
applause. Gentle applause.
Golf clap, golf clap.
Found in a small packet, this powder resembles very fine sand. There is enough.
Sorry. No, please keep going. I really like that voice. It's like
There is
Microsoft
enough of
Sam.
it for one use. When you use an action to throw the dust into the air, you and each creature and object within 10 feet of you become invisible for 2d4 minutes. The duration is the same for all subjects, but the dust is consumed when its magic takes effect. If the creature affected by the dust attacks or casts a spell, the invisibility ends for that creature. There you are. That was for you, Daniel.
That was very good. I really like that. I really, really enjoyed that. This item is cool. I like this a lot.
Yeah, it is quite cool. I read through these beforehand and I was like, oh, that is very cool. I mean, I think it's just one use, isn't it?
Yeah, it says, this packet,
Yeah.
there is enough of it for one use. But it does cover 10 feet.
Yeah, for 2d4 minutes, which I think, like, without concentration, that is pretty clutch.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, because you can be casting other spells. Sorry, you can cast other spells ahead of time and concentrate on them without,
Yes,
upsetting the magic.
You don't want to upset that magic.
Don't upset me.
Crying for days. Don't upset me. Hey,
But yeah,
hey, don't
and
upset
also the only things that you can do that get rid of it are attack or cast a spell. So you can talk or you can just like steal stuff.
Yeah, if you take damage, you're still invisible.
You're still invisible. Yeah, that's true.
You might bleed a bit, but you'll be fine.
I'm hit. I'm bleeding.
Oh, would you be invisible? Oh yeah, you'd be invisible if you died, but it would only be for the duration. So
Yes. Yeah.
you wouldn't just be an invisible corpse forever.
An invisible corpse forever. Yeah. Yeah. So this is really cool. This is a great item that is really interesting, and like I really, really like the idea that it becomes the signature item to bad guys that the party fight, and they have to come up with ways to deal with them. I really like the idea that some kind of like bad ninja clan have like access to Dust of Disappearance, and so like they use it to do bad crimes, and also they use it like during battle. And obviously it only works for one attack, and they only have one. Like they don't use it multiple times during a battle. But it might be like at the start of battle, the first thing one of them does is use the dust, and then they're all invisible, and everyone's like, "Oh, piss! Where have they gone?"
I mean, fleeing is one of the things that they would definitely do. Like
Yeah,
assassins
exactly,
don't want to die; they're supposed to be the killers. So
Yes.
if they think they're being outmatched, they will absolutely run away to. He who fights and runs away lives to fight another day, kind of thing,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Like, so yeah, I think it would be cool for like an assassin or for like a professional thief. I just like it's great. It's such a great item. It's just like a once-off, long-term invisibility.
Yeah.
That's really exciting for low-level players because they just don't get access to that kind of thing.
Yeah. Wondrous. It is still uncommon, so it's
exactly. It's
by all
uncommon.
means give it to them if they find the source, but like don't have it be like on every street corner. Hey man,
Yeah.
Dust of Disappearance. You holding?
But yeah, I really like the idea. This is a great item. I like this a lot.
Like that is a very good example of where to use it, but it's also maybe do even just have it in shops, like, because it's uncommon, although it is wondrous, it is a cool thing to just have available. Like, never have like massive stockpiles of it, I don't think, in any shops, because you don't want to overdo it, but like, it is a cool item to just have. You and everyone in 10 feet of you, which would be your entire party if you kind of huddled together, are just invisible, which is great.
Yeah. I think sorry, what were you saying?
You'll still set off traps if you're trying to infiltrate something, but you won't be spotted.
True, yeah. The thing I wanted to mention is, like, I think, like, I can see how, like, because it makes you invisible, I could see how it wouldn't be sold in, like, shops, because there might be the idea, like, it's too dangerous for normal people to be able to become invisible.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
But the idea that, no, I was going to say, but the idea that, like, you can find it, like, through the Thieves Guild, right? Like, you can use those, like, black market connections or something. And, like, other groups
if you have a
access
rogue,
to it.
yeah, like, if you have a rogue, they have Thieves Cant and they have underground connections, especially if they have like a criminal background. You could just be like, hey, could you get us some of this cool stuff?
Yeah, like, and like, that's exactly it. Like, it would be like the Thieves Guild doesn't even have a huge amount, but they do sell it, and like, maybe, like, because all I'm thinking is, like, if you bought like Dust of Disappearance and then like a few days later all this money goes missing, who do you think they're going to be looking for? Who did it? Like, so, like, I can imagine that it wouldn't be sold in shops as a result.
Yeah,
but
there would definitely be like what is it, consequences for your having done that. Like, people will know that you have it, so in world they'll be like, hey, we helped you get that, we want to cut.
Yeah,
like, they will come and get you.
But yeah, like, I just mean, like, that's why I would imagine it's not necessarily sold in polite society.
Yes, yes,
like,
that's reasonable.
Like, I think a lot of I think a number of uncommon magic items could be sold in, like, shops, just because the idea of, like, you have to go fight monsters and they're dangerous and you need stuff. But the idea of, like, because Dust of Disappearance is, like, so good at letting you steal from other people, I could imagine that it wouldn't be sold, and that's exactly why the Thieves Guild has it as well.
Yeah. A great little item.
Yes.
All around.
The next item on the list is the Dust of Dryness. This is one of my favorite items in the game because it's super cool.
Yeah.
Wondrous item, uncommon. This small packet contains 1d6 plus 4 pinches of dust. You can use an action to sprinkle a pinch of it over water. The dust turns a cube of water 15 feet on a side into one marble-sized pellet, which floats or rests near where the dust was sprinkled. The pellet's weight is negligible. Someone can use an action to smash the pellet against a hard surface, causing the pellet to shatter and release the water the dust absorbed. Doing so ends the pellet's magic. An elemental composed mostly of water that is exposed to a pinch of the dust must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw, taking 10d6 necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much of it on a successful one.
Nice.
So this item's just really cool because it's a great example of an item that, like, doesn't really do anything on its own. Like, aside from damage elementals, it doesn't really do much. It just turns some water into a marble.
Humans and most living creatures are mostly water. So if you were to, like, put it in someone's mouth, it would probably
it would dry up their mouth.
Yeah. Or if but this is the item that I was referring to earlier. Remember early on when I was like, there's a cool item? You could use like a sling to fling one of those 15-foot cubes worth of water marbles inside the tower and flush them out.
Good thinking,
Which I think would be very cool. Yeah. I was reading through these and I was like, oh, that would be very cool.
Yeah.
So I think there are a lot of very inventive ways that you could use these very cool little marble water pellets.
Yep, absolutely. I totally agree. Like, just initially, you can use them to get rid of water that's in your way. You can use them to put out fires. You can, like, the only thing you need to do is smash the pellet, which you can do, like, in your hand, presumably, just like crush it or whatever, and you generate water. Like, it's just like there's so much use for it. Throwing it at someone to, like, throw them off their balance, like, they're just really, really cool.
Totally.
I think they're really interesting, and I love the idea. I really like the idea that the pellets absorb whatever qualities are true for the water. So like if the water is so like if the
Salt
like
water?
so like yeah, salt water versus fresh water, but like other stuff like if you get the water from like an enchanted lake or something like that, like the pellet is still
Ooh.
enchanted, and that idea that you can then carry it on. I don't know if I don't know if you remember, Tim. I think you actually weren't in the game at the time, but you guys had Dust of Dryness.
Oh.
You got it. Yeah, I gave it to the group in their first ever adventure, and I think they
cool.
completely forgot about it because they never used it. Because I legitimately just thought like, oh, it's very cool. I'll give this to them and just see what they do with it, and then they forgot it existed. But which is what happens all the time if you give your party things.
Relatively reasonable.
But yeah, it's just I really like Dust of Dryness. I think it's really cool. I love how it doesn't really just do anything on its own. It just rewards creative thinking and figuring out what you can do with stuff. I think the only thing I would add is like it would probably be fair to say, because like they only say water in this, but I think it's fair to say you can take other stuff too.
Anything that can dampen something or kind of sit in a pool should probably be able to be absorbed by this. Maybe if it's like probably it would probably be able to absorb less like molasses or something.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, like if it's more
a similar
viscous,
level
you
of
get less
blood
it.
or something.
Yeah.
You know?
But even like I'm thinking stuff like oil would be a really useful example.
Or acid.
Or acid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That could be
And
cool.
there's no reason that those fluids wouldn't work. So yeah, I think it's fair to say like Dust of Dryness works on other liquids too.
Yeah.
But that can be kind of an implicit rule that like the players have to pay attention to find out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I like
Dust of
that.
Dryness, it's cool. I like it. It's good.
It's a fun one. I think it would be cool. A cool way to use it might be like if you're having a kind of a fun campaign and you're having an interaction with an NPC that is just kind of boring. You just take out one of these pellets and just smash it on your gauntlet, and then just like 15 feet of water just suddenly appear in the room between you and this boring NPC.
Oh no, I'm
so it's
dying.
just like a fun just whoosh, just an explosion of water just arrives and pushes both of you apart, and you get an opportunity to run away. I've had enough of this trifle.
You'll have to excuse me.
Yeah.
I have to. Oh no, I'm going away.
Yeah, fun stuff. Very, very, very creative. Like it encourages people to be creative, I think.
Yeah.
If they remember they have it. Nice. So the next is the Dust of Sneezing and Choking. It is a wondrous item, and it is uncommon. Found in a small container, this powder resembles very fine sand. It appears to be dust of disappearance in an What? It appears to be dust of disappearance, and an identify spell reveals it to be such. There is enough of it for one use. What?
What do you mean?
Found in a small container, this powder resembles very fine sand. It appears to be dust of disappearance.
It's a cursed item.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, that's kind of unfair.
Yeah. Correct.
I'll start again then, with this newfound understanding. Found in a small container, this powder resembles very fine sand. It appears to be dust of disappearance, and an identify spell reveals it to be such. There is enough of
Wink.
it for one use. Wink. When you use an action to throw a handful of dust into the air, you and each creature that needs to breathe within 30 feet of you must succeed on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw, or become unable to breathe while sneezing uncontrollably. Sorry, got a little bit of a lisp and a tongue tie there. A creature affected in this way is incapacitated and suffocating. As long as it is conscious, a creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on it on a success. The lesser restoration spell can also end the effect on a creature.
Bad sneeze dust.
Bad sneeze dust. Just generally pretty bad, cursed, evil, bad. No,
Yeah,
thank you
bad,
very much.
evil, cursed, bad. This is the only purpose I can think of this is a great prank item to give the party through a creature who is a prankster.
Yeah, like a prankster god. Like I'm a big fan of prankster gods and like the kind of mischievous like deities and stuff. Like I I love the dynamic that could give to any character. Like, I think a lot of, excuse me, I think a lot of people will tend, while trying to be quite serious, to make like reverent characters. Like they'll be forthright and strong and good, but like the broadness of what you can do with a character can be like people will start to see just how unlimited their options are when they're like trickster gods, you know, like this kind of stuff opens up the world to like you're in this game to have a good time and also slay stuff, you know, and save the world or whatever, but you are also just having a good time. Like the trickster gods and the trick stuff is a lot of the fun that you can have in the game, you know, and you can have a very serious, very whirlwind like campaign, but you know, I'm definitely a proponent of being messers. Like goofs and gaffs are always allowed in my games.
It's true. You're wild.
I'm mad.
You just can't be stopped.
No one can stop me.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So this does sneezing and coughing. Sneezing and choking. It's kind of one note. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
It's just like gotcha. I think it's fair to say like I only think it is reasonable to use with the expectation that you are like warning the players, like they know that they can't necessarily trust the person who gives it to them, for example.
Yeah.
I think with that kind of contract, then it's very much on them.
Totally.
But yeah,
I think it's a good way to, or even you can use it from the evil guy's perspective, and he can like throw it at your players and try to get away. Because I think that there are defined ways of incapacitated. There's a definition for the incapacitated status, but is there one for suffocating?
I think so. Yeah, it just means you can't breathe and you
sure.
lose. You like have a number of rounds until you run out of air.
Right. Okay. So I think definitely like unable to like. I'm gonna look it up. I need to find out what the actual like definition of the incapacitated and suffocated condition is, because my understanding of what it would do would be that it would like stop your players from being able to effectively catch whoever just threw this in their faces.
Yeah.
So
basically.
an incapacitated creature can't take actions or reactions.
Right. I think
that's it. Okay.
And suffocating is just you like can't breathe. I think it might mention spells, but I don't know. And then you have a number of rounds based on like something. I don't know. Yeah,
it's not in the convenient part of the appendix that gives you status effects, but
you can hold your breath for like con mod plus 1 minute or something like that.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive. It's hard to hold your breath for more than a minute.
Oh yeah.
I like practicing every once in a while so I can comfortably get to 2 minutes, but that's just because I'm a weirdo.
No, I mean it's practical. It's cool to have.
Yeah, hold your breath. But yeah, I think it's a cool little prank thing. Yeah,
prank item.
Pranks,
and also right. it is cool for the players to have it and use to prank someone else if they figure it out. So
yeah. Being single use, it's not likely that they'll find another opportunity, but you know, if they can identify it.
Well, they can't.
Well, if they sniff it, they won't turn invisible. They'll start choking.
Well, they'll just sneeze, I guess. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we move on?
Sure.
Dwarven plate. Armor. Plate. Very rare. While wearing this armor, you gain a +2 bonus to AC. Wow, man. So, yeah, armor 20. In addition, if an effect moves you against your will along the ground, you can use your reaction to reduce the distance you are moved by up to 10 feet.
Have you heard nothing of the stubbornness of dwarves? That has to be a reference to that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's what
Lord
it is.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Yeah, this is fine.
Yep, it's flavorful and it's interesting and it is powerful. boosting that AC up to 20.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because it seems like that's the biggest part is that it's plate mail with a +2 bonus.
Yeah.
The thing that lets you move less is fine. I feel like it would be more exciting if it just said you don't move. The fact that you reduce it by 10 feet feels very gamey. And given that this is a very rare magical item, so by the time your party have access to it, the wizard's already teleporting and stuff like that. The druid is like turning into a magical flying bear, and
you're not going to be coming. You're not going to be coming across like a troll that you can't fight that is trying to pull your dwarf away. Your dwarf is just going to beat the shit out of it.
So yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like maybe it would be more exciting if it just said like you can use your reaction to reduce any forced movement to 0. Just like they try to move you, but you don't move because because fuck you basically.
And again, at that level, you're still going to be like planar. You're probably more likely to be plane shifted than dragged.
Yeah, that's true as well. Certainly, like that'll become more apparent in higher levels. Totally. But yeah, overall, I just feel like maybe 10 feet is weirdly limited, is what I would say.
Yeah, totally.
It's very like small picture thinking, especially because it specifies along the ground as well. So I don't know. It's fine, but it's nice that it's a reaction. It's nice that it's something you have to choose to do. But maybe it would be more interesting if it just said you don't move, and if it didn't have the ground restrictions, so that you could just kind of, it was literally like more about stubbornness incarnate than it was about like, don't go pushing me around, sir.
I think if telekinesis was more of a thing, like a more of a focused thing in D&D, that would be a much more effective and frequently used thing.
If in general, if the idea of like pushing things around the battlefield was more important.
Yeah.
But like when you think about it, even like really big monsters like ogres and giants and stuff, their attacks don't specify, but they also push you as well because they're so big. They just deal damage.
Like some things shove you, and nothing will shove you more than 10 feet.
Very rarely, So, which in fairness means that basically, you can mitigate all of the force movement, which is cool. But the fact that it then doesn't just say you mitigate all of the force movement,
all the damage. Yeah.
So yeah,
strange.
Yeah, it's
cool
fine.
armor though.
It is. Oh yeah, it's cool looking, and there's a great picture of it here, and and also like +2 AC on plate is super good.
Totally.
But that's a little bit underwhelming. So maybe make that more exciting when you run it in the game. Make it like you can use your action to reduce the distance to 0. So that you can never be moved, which was pretty cool.
We shall not be moved.
And then I don't know. That's it.
That's
all
about
I have to say. They didn't write that much about this, so I refuse to talk about it that much.
Yeah. So our last item in our D list.
Yeah.
Go for it, Dan.
Oh, is it my turn?
Oh, sorry. Is it?
I thought it was your turn.
Oh, no, you're right. I read the sneezy stuff.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I get the honor of the last one. Oh, my goodness. Yes. Should I do it in a Scottish accent for the dwarves?
I mean, I'd enjoy it.
A dwarven thrower. A weapon of a warhammer. Very rare. Requires attunement by a dwarf. You gain a +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this magic weapon. If it has the thrown property, which at normal range 20 feet and a long range of 60 feet. When you hit with a ranged attack using this weapon, it deals an extra 1d8 damage, or, if the target is a giant, 2d8 damage. Immediately after the attack, the weapon flies back to your hand.
That was very good.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Freedom! It has to be, anytime the accent is brought up.
Scotland forever.
Scotland forever. So yeah, a very cool item. It's
Thor's hammer. You throw it at things, hammer. You pull it back. It's very cool. It has +3 to hit and damage, so it's wicked strong.
All the stuff that you can imagine doing with Thor's hammer minus lightning, you can do with this.
It's a warhammer, which is a D8, D10 versatile, and it deals an extra D8 if you throw it, so it's even stronger. It's very good. It's very cool. I love it. It's exciting.
Yeah, totally.
I think
it can be used slightly broader if you have the Belt of Dwarven Kind.
Yeah, true enough, yeah.
So, like, if you come across that, and then you come across this, you can be like, well, it needs acquirement by a dwarf. I have a belt. And you also get a sweet beard. Which is part of the Belt of Dwarven Kind.
It is, yeah.
I like it a lot. I like that item.
It is
fun. And it works in combination with other cool dwarven stuff, obviously.
Yeah, it does.
It's strange how the dwarven plate doesn't specify that it has to be worn by a dwarf.
Yeah, I suppose the idea is maybe it's made by dwarves, but not necessarily always for dwarves.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's like their like fighting style, but they're willing to like give it to friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, a dwarven plate mail. Very cool. I like it.
In the same way that you might have like an elven cloak, but it's not like only elves can wear it. It's like it was made by the elves, so it's got these qualities.
Is there a special magic weave or whatever? Yeah, dwarven thrower. I think it would be very difficult to fight an enemy with it. I think.
But that would be very cool as a result.
Yeah.
That'd be a great setup actually if this was the iconic weapon you gave your villain.
Yeah, it would definitely make them very flavorful and memorable.
Yeah,
dwarven flavored.
Bad dwarf. The bad dwarf grim guy.
I am Grim Guy, the bad dwarf.
I'm here now, and I'm gonna have some words with you.
I'm gonna throw this hammer at you, and it's gonna come back to me. Aren't you scared?
Please don't. And then he does it though, and
he does it despite your derision.
Despite your request. No, wait, don't though. And then he does it, and you're like,
stop
dang.
it.
Please do not though. Please do not do the thing I asked you not to do.
Arg.
That's how most D&D games go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. That'd be a cool weapon for the big bad to have, or one of the lieutenants to have.
Agreed.
It'd be a great weapon for the TV tropes calls the dragon, which is like the big bad's like right hand man, who's the strong guy, who's like honorable but powerful and like ruthless. It would suit them down to a T because it's nice and it's wicked strong and it does a good throw move and it's cool. Yeah, I like this a lot. So I don't think I even have that much to say about it other than that it's really cool.
It's really cool.
It's really cool, and it's really cool to give to your players after they beat the heck out of somebody who has it so they can use it.
I think it's just so specifically useful. Like it hasn't got much utility to it.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to get a magnet off the shelf. Like you throw it at the magnet and it attaches the magnet and then you pull it back. Like there's not or maybe like you like throw it away over an edge with a rope tied to it and then you like walk to the other side of something and then it like wraps around it. Yeah, there's a couple you could be creative with it.
Yeah, you can be creative with it.
There's creativity built around this item. And like most items.
Yeah, and like just like you said there, Tim, the idea like of magnets that could be kind of cool if you modified it so that it was like rather than being like a dwarven thrower, it was like a magnesis hammer, and so like you can like toss it and like activate it and like pulls all metal objects to it and then it pulls back to you. So you can like disarm your enemies at range and stuff like that.
Cool. Kind of like the gloves that Link has in some of the Zelda games.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that he can like push himself away or pull himself towards certain things.
Yeah.
I like those.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen them in one game, I think.
They might only be in one game because sometimes that be how it is.
Yeah, that be how it do.
Mm.
So yeah, Dwarven Throw is very cool.
It's very cool. I'm a big fan. I
totally.
Yeah, like the setting I have is sort of a setting that tries to move away from the idea of like this is the dwarven city, this is the elf city, this is the human city, and it's more like this is a place where people are like this, and over here the people are like this, they're a bunch of assholes, and like it's more like that. It's more like kind of racially integrated societies where it's more about the culture you come from defines you rather than like you know, whether you're a dwarf or not. And to that end I've added like basically the idea of it like it being like a infinite kind of like, so like there's loads of races in my setting that don't exist in D&D, like the half elementals and canics and stuff like that, who I just like added because I'm like, if I'm gonna commit to this, I'm just gonna make it so that there's way too many races for them to be like identifying, and it's more like, oh, you're from like, oh, the kingdom of the griffin, you must be a jackass then, and he's like, hey, and you know,
yes, schmuck.
Yeah, you bugger. I'm walking.
I kind of went a relatively opposite direction with what I went with. Like I have like cities that are built by the races, but the world is so integrated that nobody really cares anymore.
Yeah.
Like there are, I think the orcs and the halflings and the Goliaths were the only ones who I've kind of not integrated very hugely, but it's probably because I tended to keep them a little bit more like insular than the rest of them, because the Goliaths are like up in the north, but they probably like I have them like they welcome people, but they have to be hardy enough to not be cared about, you know, like they won't look after you.
They can't be soft.
Yeah.
Boys. I basically in my setting, the division is just whether you are like monstrous or not. So like gnolls are still monstrous humanoids, so they're not part of polite society. Which I mostly just keep because I think I think the idea of like orcs and gnolls just being like monsters is cool, and I like it.
Yeah.
And then you can explain it, and there's lore for why this is the case, why they're not like chill, basically.
So
but
maybe we can have different types of throwers for every specific race, just to like counter and foil that.
It's more like you can be like, you know, I guess for me, like what I'm saying is, I don't think I would have a dwarven thrower. I think I would say, well, who would use a weapon like this? And I'd be like, well, maybe the Griffin Knights, because they ride on like flying mounts. So the idea of a weapon that returns to you is probably really handy when you can drop it off the side of a Griffin.
Unlimited ammunition. Yeah,
effectively. Yeah. So like maybe that's where they're from, or you know. Maybe it's from somewhere else, like maybe it's from the Zetans, who prefer like boats and airships as their way of fighting. You know, for whatever reason, maybe they like it or something like that. Like so, like I would think more about like culturally, and I'd probably just drop the idea of like you can only attune to it if you're a dwarf, but maybe I'd come up with a different restriction, like maybe something like as arbitrary, right? Like, oh, you're not a dwarf, but you have to be. You have to be from here, like you have to be from this place, or you have to like swear an oath of allegiance to this specific lord or this specific king. So you're basically one of their citizens.
Cool.
Or you could even have it be like a question of personal character. So like when they take up the weapon, they have to make an oath of some kind.
Yeah. Kind of leaning into the kind of Mjolnir thing again, like if you are worthy
whosoever
to carry
is worthy,
this.
Yeah. Whosoever is worthy may wield the power of Thor.
Power of Thor.
You could absolutely do something like that, and that'd be kind of interesting. And then that means as well you don't have the problem where no one in your party is a dwarf, so you can't give them a dwarven thrower.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's cool. It definitely encourages world building, which I'm all about.
It does, yeah. I guess like if you wanted to kind of like, what I'm thinking now is an obvious thing to do would be like say, oh well, this culture built it, and now that culture has spawned this culture. So now if you're like a descendant of that old culture, just by consequence, just as like a weird circumstance of fate, you get to use the weapon or something. But yeah, I like the dwarven thrower a lot. It's super cool. I like it.
Super cool.
It's very exciting to use. Lots of fun. Yeah. I give it 2 thumbs up.
Nice. I give it 3.
What the?
Both of yours and one of mine.
Oh God. My thumbs.
7 out of 5.
Perfect. So
yeah, that is all of the Ds.
All of the Ds in the Dungeon Master's Guide. If you have enjoyed this episode, you can go and find us on iTunes. You can find us on whatever podcasting app you use, and you can subscribe. And if your podcasting app allows it, you can rate and you can comment and you can do all those nice things. If you want to find out where we live on the internet, you can go to creatureclubpodcast.com. You can comment on the below the episode you've just listened to, or you can listen to our other episodes and comment below them. There's also a contact us page where you can basically just do whatever you like and send it on to us. Or if you prefer, we have an email address. We have creatureclubpodcast@gmail.com. We're always looking for homebrew monsters. We just did our first homebrew monster episode, which was very cool. And there's also a PDF with those monsters in it if you'd like to steal them and use them in your own game, which is what they're there for. But we're also looking for homebrew magic items. It's not just creatures we want. Magic items, dungeons, like concepts, organizations, bad guys, good guys, just literally anything you think would be cool. Send it on to us. We'll do something with it.
Yeah, totally. Like our episode on the homebrew stuff was exclusively monsters because that's pretty much all we got, Yeah. But we love to expand that into items and everything else because even as simple as like a one-line description of something, we will play with that and we will do our best to build something around it. So,
Yes, we will.
feel
yeah.
free to chuck something to us.
Yeah,
But also,
absolutely.
on the note of rating us, I looked into the old how that whole thing works, and it basically, if our audience feels that we're good enough to interact almost directly with us, it basically promotes us slightly. Like, we get a little uptick. Like, we'll be slightly more and more basically noticed by the system, as it
Oh,
were.
I see. Grand, yeah.
You know, so it is the power is in your hands whether you would like us to have more audiences. I mean, we're just gonna keep doing it forever.
Yeah,
because
that's
we
the fact
just
of the matter.
have so
like-
much fun with this, you know.
Yeah, exactly. We have fun, and at least like 7 of our actual friends have said it's good. Yeah, it's fun. I really like it. And then like also people on the internet have said like, oh, this is really good. I like it. So like it's like, yeah, all right. Like basically, if approximately, you know, if more man hours of happiness come out of it than man hours go in to produce it, then
Yeah,
it's,
that is a net
it's good. It's net
We have
good.
We have decreased world suck in
Basically,
certain
yeah,
terms.
exactly, yeah. Scientifically, we have
indeed.
improved the standing of the world of Earth.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Put
no,
in
but
some
it's-
good
yeah,
and produce more good.
exactly.
It's a delightful thought. So if you want to produce more good, because, you know, if we could get a sponsor on this, that would be very, very cool, you know?
It would be, yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
complicated for me legally, but
Indeed. It would be complicated for all of us legally because
Yeah, that's fair.
we're all going to be moving to different places and it's going to be
yeah,
tricky.
actually, fair point. Yeah,
But, you know, we're going to keep doing this because we love it and, you know, we're enthusiastic about all of this kind of stuff.
yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it is worth getting enthusiastic about.
It's very exciting
So, yeah.
stuff.
Thank you all for so much for listening and for tuning back in, because we know we have at least some regular viewers
Yeah,
or listeners, I suppose. And yeah, thank you so much.
normally DC says stay cool, but he's not here, so
Yeah.
bye.
Bye. Get out of my house.
I need to go. I need to go. I have to. I have to go.
I
home
must
now.
go. I
must
must
go.
go.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.